Hi, my name is Rudi Jansen. I'm going to share with you a presentation around 3 tools to turn an over-reliant, underperforming team into a highly motivated, self-reliant team. So, as a quick introduction, my name is Rudi Jansen, qualified as a chartered accountant in South Africa in 2002. For the last 16 years, I've been based in the UK, and I left the world of accounting behind, originally became a business coach, but the last 8+ years, I've been working purely with accountants, practice owners, and clients are all over the world, a lot of countries, a lot of continents. I also own 3 of my own accounting practices, and I don't work in any of them, so I've really built these businesses to work without me. And I do say, as much like coach accountants, I have these as my live laboratories. Because one thing to say what you should do is X, it's a whole different thing to actually do it in the real world. So that's what these live laboratories are all about. It's about trying these things out. And like I say, I don't personally work in them because ultimately what I teach is how do you build this business that can work without you? Is that even possible? So absolutely is. I'm going to be at a conference with you guys in Sandton next month, September, in Sandton, the cloud conference there. And my presentation is all about how an established firm can transform, remain competitive, and thrive in the future. So how do we go about transforming a practice? There are 4 points to this: you, your systems, your team, and your growth. So today is all around the team. What's those 3 tools? Why is team so important? Well, I think it's fair to say that without an amazing team behind you, well, if I want to go for the Olympic gold or the World Cup, if we don't have an amazing A+ team going for this, we're just never going to get there. And for me, when I look at my clients, people I work with, we've got our big, hairy, audacious goal. What is it we're pushing for? And in order to get there, we need an amazing team behind us. And if your team are in this place where they're over-reliant, they're underperforming, they're passing the buck to you, you've got to pass back the monkey, whatever it is, you'll always be stuck in the center. And I'll share with you a bit later, one of my clients in South Africa, Mike, is based in Witbank. He was saying that, he used to be the accountant who's had his practice, been in accounting for 30 years, used to be the first one in the morning to unlock the doors, and he's the last person out at night locking the doors again, being typical like this. And I'll share with you as we go through this part of his story as well. But a big shift happened with this whole team bit there. Absolutely, you can't do this alone. To do the transformation of the whole practice and your whole world, you do need your team and the right people in that team behind you 100%. So let's take a look at these 3 tools. And in hindsight, you're probably going to say, but this is not rocket science. And no, it isn't. Making the changes is the simple things. So let's take a look at a few of these simple tools of how we go about transforming our team. So this A+ formula is something I put together a few years ago now. But essentially it says, let's take a look at our team. We use the A+ formula. So there's an A plus A equals A+. Now again, if we're going for the Olympic gold or the World Cup, we need an A+ team behind us. So the first A stands for attitude. And the second A for ability in my current role. So what we do is we take a person and we give them a rating 0 to 10 for attitude, and then a rating 0 to 10 for ability in their current role. And Rudi's rule of thumb is that in order to be an A+ person, the average between those 2 numbers needs to be an 8+. So let's take a look at this. Some examples. So we've got Inzukili working for us. Attitude, the guy is amazing. Attitude's 10 out of 10. I love this person. Fantastic. Is always there. Ability in his current role, pretty awesome. You know, you give him something, he's just going to do it. Brilliant. Love it. So average 9.5. It's above my 8 plus. Wow. I definitely want him in my team. I want more like him. Awesome. Let's take Mary for attitude. Pretty good. Pretty excellent, actually. 9.5. Ability in current role, 7. Average 8.25. So let me just quickly pause here. So there's a few rules around ability and a few rules around attitude. Actually, 2 and 1. So ability tends to have lower numbers because of two main things. One is it's a square peg in a round hole situation. In other words, I've got an amazing person, but they're in the wrong role. So, by example, if I took my shy receptionist and I put her into a telesales role, it's not going to work in a million years. You know, the person's just not built for that. So, a square peg in a round hole situation, I've got an amazing person in the wrong role. So, as a leader, I've got to either move that person into a different profitable role within my business, or I have to exit them from my business. And leadership is about doing the right thing, not the comfortable thing. So ability, low numbers. One is it's a square peg in a round hole situation. The other thing is it's a training thing. Got the right person, they're in the right role, they don't quite know what they're doing, and they need more training. And ultimately, that sits on my shoulders as the leader in the business. You know, I've got to sit down with this person, I've got to figure out what is their plan for training, and then I've got to hold them accountable to that plan over a period of time. And thereby the training will then go up. So that's ability. Attitude, on the other hand, if that's a low number, and low being less than 8 for both of these, ability, this is an interesting one. Here it's a bit of a one rotten apple in the cart has the potential to destroy the entire cart. Absolutely. And if your attitude sucks, I don't know if I want to pay you for the next 10 years whilst you might decide to change your attitude. So for me, when it comes to attitude, it's pretty much a non-negotiable. So if I sit down with a team member, because for me, I want an A plus team. You know, in order for me to not work in my practice, I have A plus people there. You know, if I had B or C people, that would be my choice. But then we're not going for the Olympic gold, and then I'm working there all hours, God sends, you know, whatever it is. But a low attitude number, what I would do there, if I sat with a team member and we both score them a low number on attitude, then I would say to the person, you know, this is not really working for us. So if your attitude's a 4 out of 10, that's fine. But it really, to be an A plus person, wants to be 8 out of 10. So tell you what, I'm going to give you 30 days. So today is the 15th of the month. By the 15th of next month, let's sit and have this conversation again. And I'm hoping that your attitude will go up. And usually this conversation will be that I will sit down with the person and say, what do you reckon 0 to 10 your rating for attitude is? And it's often quite an honest conversation. So they'll say, my number is 6. And I'll say, okay, well, I think it's about a 5. The second question that goes with that is, in order to increase your number from whatever number you've given by one number, what needs to happen? Okay, well, to take from a 6 to a 7, well, I think if I had blah, 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 and they'll tell you. And that's great, because they've just told you what needs to happen, and we make that happen, and the attitude is going to shift. I might say, well, for me, in order for you to increase from a 5 to a 6, I reckon that if you were on time more often or made me more tea or whatever, you know, so there's an honest conversation of this is going to happen. So over the next few weeks, I'll probably once a week actually sit down with this individual and say, so what's the latest on that? How are you getting on with that? And I want to see that attitude increasing. If the person truly has an attitude problem, they won't be bothered doing what they need to do. In which case, in a month's time, we're going to start having a different type of conversation, which is ultimately, I'm not going to say it like this, but your attitude sucks and this is maybe not the place for you. You're definitely not going to say it like that. You're going to take it through a proper HR process, but that's going to be what's going to happen. So for me, having an A plus team, attitude 8+, amazing people. Ability, ultimately 8+, although if it's a training thing, I can live with that. But that's how we get to an A+. Okay, so we've done Nzakile there, we've done Mary. So Quibus, attitude 6. Quite frankly, that sucks. I'm not going to tolerate that. And you know, this is also a part of here is, will I continue tolerating this? I've put up with this for many years. I'm now reaching a point where I said, that's enough. Here's a different way. So Quibus, attitude 6, I'm definitely going to sit him down and have this conversation about his attitude. And either it's going to increase it or he's going to be out the door soon enough. Interesting about Quibus, his ability is 8. And that's a mistake that we often make. We hire somebody based on their CV. They can do the job, yep, hire them. But actually, it doesn't fit in the team. It doesn't work. Their attitude sucks. They're not there for me when I need them. You know, I'm the one who ends up picking up the pieces, whilst I've got Quibus with an attitude of 6. Not on. So 6 and 8. Velma's got an amazing attitude, 9, brilliant. Ability, she's a 5. You know, is it square peg in a round hole situation, or is it a training issue? If it's a training issue, you know, Velma's got a great attitude. I want to keep this lady, so let's get this training program sorted. So trust that makes sense. For me, this number exercise, you can sit down with yourself, your partners, whoever's in leadership, can work through this exercise in a few minutes. Once you've got it written down, you know what needs doing. Taking that next step of doing the right thing is where the courage comes in. And again, you need an HR person to stand behind you and guide you through that landmine area so you don't go and make stupid mistakes. That's going to cost you a lot of money. But once you make a decision that actually, you know, if I make a decision that Quibus is out of here, I've had enough now, then it's a matter of running a process over a period of time, and eventually Quibus will move on. Okay, that's just an example of how this works. So Nzakila's good, Mary's good, Quibus question mark, and Velma question mark potentially as well. And yeah, it's one of my clients, Paul Covell, by focusing on building an A+ team, work doesn't land back on my desk. I'm not carrying everything on my shoulders, and I've managed to reduce my working week to 3 days whilst the practice is still growing. And in fact, I was speaking just very recently, this last week, Mike that I mentioned earlier on in this presentation, who's based in Witbank. 10 months ago, he was a typical accountant for 30 years. I go in at 8 o'clock in the morning, I work till 5. You know, if I have to work on weekends, I'll do so. In 10 months, one of the things is a bunch of different tools that work together here. And they're all simple and straightforward, but he identified his A+ people and his non-A+ people, and he started exiting the non-A+ people. And you know, a big fear is, oh, but you know, we can't find the right people, and if I let go of the bad ones, you know, can I replace them? Reality is that recruitment is a process. It's a sifting for diamonds process, revolving doors of people come and go until you find your diamonds and you keep them. But when you start looking for it, you will find the right people. And with Mike, in his case, he is now in a place where he's working in his business 4 hours in a week. Now that sounds unreal, and I get that, but it is absolutely possible. A man who's gone 30 years, this is how life is as an accountant, you know, we've got to do it all, has in 10 months shifted from I'm working 4 hours a week in the practice, I'm feeling guilty about all this time I have, I'm about to go on a 6-week international holiday and I'm completely fine with that, knowing that everything is taken care of, because he's gone through the process of putting an A+ team in place. And like he says, you know, he's got 20 people in his team. Not everyone is quite A+ yet, but there's been big shifts and changes. So that's a massive key. Okay, next one is what I call the who, what, when triangle. This is ridiculously powerful, so please make sure you've got pen and paper, take notes. This will turn completely around how you do things. And this one actually, speaking with a client of mine in Durbanville in the Cape, Johan, his first name is Johan. He's got a team of 70 people. And, you know, profitability isn't where it was a year ago, overheads are growing, we're losing clients, all that normal kind of stuff. But Johan is still trapped inside and he can't really can't really go on holiday, can't really have the break because I'm there. So one of the things I shared with him was this who, what, when triangle, and literally in a matter of weeks, the changes started happening. So let me explain this to you. Triangle has three corners: who, what, when. And let me just see what the next slide is. Okay, let's go back. Now let's just take it through. So what we do this is that whenever I ask somebody to do something, or I give an order, whatever you want to call this, but I've requested somebody to do something. My job is to ensure that I formulate that request in the form of a who, a what, and a when. So let me give you a little example here. So let's say that I've got this credit controller working in my business. And she comes to me and I say to her, so did you call the clients asking for money? And she says, yes, I did. Now, normally I could go, great, awesome, but yet my debtors book is sky high. If I turn my question into who, what, when, so no, let's turn slightly around. Let's say my credit controller comes to me and she says to me, I've spoken to the client. They've said they will send the check or make the bank transfer. In that case, in that phrase there, how many ticks do we have on this who, what, when triangle? Spoke to the client, they said they'll pay the money. In that case, we only have one tick, which is the what. They said they'll pay the money. On the who, I did not have a name, a single name, and I didn't have a when. Second scenario, let's go to credit controller comes to me. She spoke to the client, Mary. Mary said she'll pay us the money. Full stop. In this case, how many ticks? Two ticks on our triangle. A who is Mary, and the what is pay us the money. Next scenario, credit controller comes to me and says she spoke to Mary. Mary said she'll pay the money, and it'll be transferred by this Friday morning. It'll be done. In this case, how many ticks? Three. The who is Mary, the what is pay the amount, and the when, very important, the when is Friday morning at some point. Friday morning is good enough for me. And in this case, I can go tick, 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 and like let's go back a few, there, like my musical triangle, I can go ding, I've got my ding on my who, what, and when. So what happens here is that often we'll say, I've asked the manager to bring me the audit file. Okay, the manager is probably a name, so I've asked Jack to bring me the audit file. So there's a who and there's a what. No when. 6 weeks later, I am going, this blimmin' Jack still hasn't brought my audit file. It drives me crazy. Did I ask for a when? No. Who's to blame here? Is it Jack to blame or me for how I've asked my question? Me. I put my hands up. Okay, so in this case, I go back to Jack and say, hey, Jack, remember we had a discussion about the audit file? So, Jack, I need this audit file on my desk. By when can I have it? And Jack will say, oh, you can have it by Monday morning. Awesome. I go in my head, great, tick, 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 because I've got a who is Jack, a what is my audit file, and I've now created a when, Monday morning. Monday afternoon, if Jack hasn't brought it yet, I'm going to go to Jack, I'm going to look him in the eyes. The question I'm going to ask him is say, Jack, can you remember the other day we made an agreement? Can you remind me what was that agreement? And then you shut up. And in your head you count 1001, 1002, 1003. And that empty space creates an immense amount of pressure. Because Jack is used to probably saving everybody, but now suddenly there's a space and is forced to answer. So Jack will go eventually, either, no, I can't remember, in which case you say, no, remember, and you keep on reminding him until he eventually comes up with it. But at some point he's going to go, oh, I did say I was going to have that audit file to you by this morning. You go, that's right. Because what's happened here is that essentially Jack has made a promise. He's made an agreement. We both know that he's broken a promise. He's broken an agreement. And that is not okay. With my teams, they all know that 3 strikes and you're out. You make 3 agreements with me and you break them, you're out the door. Now, that sounds a bit harsh, and I accept that life happens, and every now and then we all forget about. I said I was going to do something, and I genuinely forgot. That's fine. But when I look you in the eye and I say to you, I will have this order filed to you on your desk by Monday morning, 10 o'clock, and I don't do it, and I don't renegotiate. So agreements, I'll quickly accept. Agreements is 3 things you can do. You can make an agreement, you can break an agreement, you can keep an agreement, and sorry, the 4th thing is you can renegotiate an agreement before it's broken. So if I say to you, I'll get it to you on your desk by Monday morning, 10 o'clock, 10 to 10, if I come to you and I say, I can't make it, please can we change the time? We've renegotiated the agreement. You're taking the mickey a bit, but we have renegotiated the agreement. You've not broken it. So renegotiation is okay. Breaking agreements is not okay. So that's a long story to say, start using the who, what, when triangle with every request. Make sure that there's a when in there. A who is not they or both of them. It's one single name. If there are 2 managers working on this job, flip a coin. Alphabetically, I don't care how you do it, but pick one name between those 2. And that person is responsible. So there's one name. One who, there's a what, and there's a when. If somebody then breaks the agreement, you say, hey, no problem, I get that. Let's create a new agreement, new triangle. So Jack, by when can I get the order file on my desk? And Jack says, oh, by Wednesday morning, 10 o'clock. And I go, great, thank you very much. New agreement's been made. It's very rare, and because if the second agreement gets broken again, I'm going to go to Jack again, and this time I'm going to really stare and say, and eventually I'll say, Jack, this is absolutely unacceptable. And he will get the severity of that. It's very rare that people will go beyond the 3rd triangle when you use this. Also, feel free to write in the book who, what, when. So, when people make these promises to you, you write it down. And also a big key is that you've got to clear up your own broken promises. So you've got to make a list of your own, where have I said I'll do something which I've not done yet, and actually go and do those. Because you, as a leader, you lead by example. But this tool is ridiculously powerful for bringing accountability home really strongly, and it just works. Very, very powerful. So the who, what, when triangle, some people print this out, they stick it on their wall to remind them. But you start using this in every request, and anything that's been driving you up the wall, you go back to people and you open the triangle and say, we did say that before, by when do you reckon you can get that back to me? So play with that. There's a bit more around it, but there's plenty there. The who, what, when triangle, massively transformative, guaranteed. And it does lead to effective delegation. Very, very powerful. And Robert there, since introducing the who, what, when triangle concept across our firm of 70 plus staff, and they've got 7 partners as well. Everybody's being made more accountable to what they're doing or not doing. The team love it. And again, those people who don't love it will probably find that this is not the right team for them, and they'll eventually move on. But it's about building an A+ team, bringing the accountability through a very simple process, very powerful stuff. It actually works. Okay, last bit here, the head, heart, wallet, motivator. So how do we motivate people in those 3 places? So wallet, money only motivates people so far. It's a bit like in the winter, I'm sitting in a room and it's freezing cold in the room. That's uncomfortable. So we need to warm up the room till it's a nice warmth. And then beyond that, it doesn't really matter so much, although it might get too hot. Money is the same thing. If I'm being paid too little, it's uncomfortable, and I'm going to be looking for something else where I can get the right amount. When I receive what I believe to be the right amount for my job, I'm comfortable. And then money beyond that becomes a bit of a motivator, but it only goes so far. And I'll explain shortly where I come to that. But I'm quite okay with paying above market rate wages, because for me, in my A+ team, when I've got A+ people, an A+ person will output double, literally, what a non-A+ person will do. An A+ person, you can throw things at them and they'll run with that ball. So I'm quite happy to pay those people a bit more, by all means. You can have a play with bonuses, so individual targets and bonuses, or annual profit share. But again, keep in mind that it motivates only so far the extra money beyond the comfort zone. And again, some personalities just can't be asked with this, and some do. So it depends on the personality and where it goes and all of that. So that's on the wallet. Head has to do with mental stimulation and learning opportunities. Can I grow here? Can I learn here? Am I actually stimulated mentally? So that's the technical and non-technical training. And there's a whole bunch of keywords on the screen there around that. And this is also a big one. The freedom and autonomy in my role. Does it count because I'm here from 8 till 5 sitting at my desk? Or could I work on a weekend or at night when I choose to? There's a whole world of millennials, I suppose, and thinking around that of doing things in a different way. But that autonomy, and again, this doesn't work for everybody, but for the right people or my A+ people, absolutely. Okay, hearts has to do with how are they recognized? Hey, well done, brilliant job, thank you very much. Do they believe in the vision of the firm? Is it exciting? I would highly this video, very, very powerful. RSA animate, just type it into YouTube, it'll come up. It's 10 minutes, but Dan Pink, just his perspective on what motivates people, very powerful. Go and watch it. Okay, so from all of that, I've been rambling on a bit there, but what has been your biggest insights or takeaway from all of that? And the interesting bit here, nothing that I spoke about there is rocket science. It's all easy, simple stuff. And for me, that's a massive key in transforming your practice and ultimately building it to this place where, like with Mike, he's now working 4 hours a week in his practice. And he says, I'm feeling guilty because I've got this time and I don't know what to do with myself yet. And I'm working with him on what to do with that extra time. But, how do I get to that place? It's by building this A+ team, the systems, and ultimately getting there. But it's totally possible. Okay. So I'm looking forward to sharing more with you about this stuff at the actual conference and presentation I'm doing there. So if you've not registered for it yet, please do so. Come and learn more, not just from me, but from loads of other people who will be there as well. And I look forward to seeing you there. And if you want to get in touch with me personally, there's my email address. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. Hey, look forward to connecting with you. Bye for now.